All right, we're live.
Hello, hello. Welcome on into another Monday Live with the Whiskey Crusaders. I'm Will.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Matt.
Today we are joined by Erica and Maebh. They are from Bruichladdich and Westland. They are distillery ambassadors. Sorry, brand ambassadors for them. Matt, who do we got in the chat so far?
All right, let's see. We got Mark JG, Alan Lewis, Greg T. Stagg, Dram Van Thank You Man, Ben Demon Hunter, The Linux Cat, Wheels, James Taylor, Howdy Whiskey, King Jack JD, One Lost Cause, Donald Rance, Ice House, Ben Stahl, Karen B. Ford, let's see, Captain Make It Happen, Richie Z, let's see here, okay, Silverlock Whiskey Club, and of course, always my phone goes crazy. All right, we're good. All right, so I guess, Erica, if you want to start and then go into Maebh, and you guys can tell them all about all the awesome stuff we're about to do this evening in our exploration of peated whiskeys this evening.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. For those of you that I've met before, good to see you guys again virtually. And we're going to get right into some peat tonight. Excited to kind of get a full exploration of all that is Westland and Bruichladdich and what we're doing at both of those distilleries. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Erica. I am a brand ambassador, brand development manager for both Westland and Bruichladdich. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, but essentially kind of cover wherever they need me to right now, just like Maebh. So virtually wherever they're kind of needing us to kind of just do tastings and all this fun stuff. So thank you guys for having us here tonight. And we look forward to getting geeky with you guys.
Absolutely.
We're thanks for having you here.
I love that. Hey, everybody. I am Maebh, and I am the brand development manager for Dallas Fort Worth for Remy Cointreu, which is has Bruichladdich and Westland under our umbrella. So we're really excited to be here and just talk about all things whiskey.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've probably since Erica's been here, of course, that was a couple years ago at this point. It's grown quite a bit since then. So I guess we should just want to give a little history on Westland and Bruichladdich. That would be awesome too. And then we'll get into all the fun peat stuff.
Yeah, I can kick it off a little bit and just kind of give a little background since we're going to do, I think, Westland first. So we'll start there and then kind of move our way into Isla. So Westland for us is our distillery up in Seattle, Washington. So we are an American single malt distillery. We always have been and will continue to be. We believe a lot in the Pacific Northwest and kind of what we're creating out there and doing it from the essence of essentially what is around us and the land around us. So essentially what grows great in the Pacific Northwest is malt. And so that is what we are making out there. We, if you were in Kentucky or, other places throughout the U.S., you can certainly make bourbon and all that great stuff. But us being up in the Pacific Northwest, we are utilizing whatever is around us, which is that lovely, lovely malt. So any of you that are Scotch fans, this is right in your wheelhouse. So we've been making it for a while now, and our distillery is kind of in the downtown kind of area. So we look forward to kind of giving you guys a good taste of what Westland is. I know tonight that we're going to be just doing the peated expressions, but we do everything from unpeated to cask explorations to everywhere in between. So yeah.
All right, I got super chat here from King Jack.
I did forget to warn you too about one thing. We got a super chat. Matt, go ahead.
Super chat.
Yeah. All right. So this one's from King Jack D. This is to cover the one that didn't go through last Monday. Listeners, cheers. Thanks, King Jack. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
So we started off. I poured myself some of the Westland Peated, and I believe Sarah's going to reach for.
I'm going to reach for the Westland Sherrywood because I don't drink.
Finish that bottle tonight.
There you go. That's all good. Go for it, girl.
We don't discriminate.
There are no rules.
Yeah, there's no wrong answers here.
They know me. They know I don't do the peat.
The one nice thing about the Westland peat, and I took this from Erica, is that she said it was a polite peat. And I've used that ever since you said that because it really is. it's something that it's a really inviting peat, and it's nothing overpowering. You can definitely have multiple of them and really enjoy that. So I stole that from Erica a while ago, and Erica, I'm still using it because I think that paints the picture really well.
It does, yeah.
Nope. Still nope.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's really faint and light. I barely smell peat on it.
Yes, but you
Yeah.
live and breathe peat. I don't.
Amazing.
I like all the other non-peated products that both distilleries produce, but
Right.
just not the peat stuff.
You know, there's something for everyone.
That's right. That's right.
Matt didn't share the other fun Bruichladdich non-peated ones with me tonight. He said, nope.
Well, that just means we'll have to do
we
another
have
night.
them.
Yeah,
They're
that's
there
right.
for 2 weeks from now. We have them for
Yeah,
then.
2 weeks from now, you're going to have the greatest night of your life.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Then.
2
Oh,
weeks
whatever.
from now, all about you.
This is still going to be great.
He's going to have to carry you out of the, living room. 2 weeks from now. Drive you all the way to the next room.
A
Exactly.
little box diving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Just
Oh,
you were about
there
to
on the palate.
Yeah, so the peated for us is a great one. And one thing that Westland does, just in the sense of malts and everything. So we have a 5 malt barley bill, meaning we do multiple different malts. We roast those malts and kind of giving a nice flavor, obviously, to all of those. So if you've ever had our house style, which is the American oak, or the sherry oak, like you've had, and you're drinking right now, it gives that nice roundness of chocolate and coffee and lots of different notes going on. So that really comes a lot from our malt, but it also comes from our Belgian Saison yeast, which is quite unusual when it comes from a distillery. So there's a lot of different kind of things that are brought to this glass that kind of round it out, because malt in of itself can be quite like drying of a spirit and of a grain source. So trying to kind of round that out with fruit, floral, chocolatey notes, trying to get a lot of other things going on in there.
Yeah.
I actually have, let me grab something really quickly.
Must have whiskey.
Get it,
That's
girl.
very important.
Grabbing something.
You're allowed to do that. That's perfectly acceptable.
Show and tell, everyone.
Right. Show and tell is always fun when it involves whiskey. It's my favorite.
So the peat is really light on the nose, but it does show up on the palate. It is there. It's not overpowering like you were saying. It's a polite peat. I don't hate that descriptor.
Yeah.
Steal it. I don't think Erica minds.
Yeah.
No, take it. Yours.
That's right.
But what I have here is just an example of all of our malts just broken down, but it's just nice to see the variation in
Make her full screen, Matt.
Yep.
Okay.
Full screen. Going big.
Question. So it's to remove everybody, I guess. Yes.
I'm glad I had this handy. This is one of my favorite little tools, but you can see the variation in all the malts, and just how, as you can imagine, all of this way, all of the different malts are going to bring such different flavors, and you could tell that literally just by looking at it. So that's just a cool little visual for you guys.
Everybody back in.
I love it.
That was really cool. I haven't seen that before. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Are the darker not malts roasted already, or are they or dried already? I'm sorry, or are they just a different strain?
Yeah, so they all come to us essentially all dried and everything. They're all going to come from different sources. So 80% of our malt is all going to come from Washington State. The rest is going to come from like UK and other places. So we have our Washington Pale and a couple of other different ones, and then we have our dark chocolate and extra special and all that kind of stuff. But those come already roasted to us.
Yep.
There we go. So how often do you guys use different malts? Do you guys always looking for new ones constantly, or just use the same ones, or how's that usually work?
In the core 3 that we do, the Westland American, the sherry, and the peated that we're drinking right now, we're using the same sources. But actually, a really cool thing that Matt, our master distiller, has been looking into is malt varietals. So obviously, with us being near essentially such great malts, and they may not be commodity or anything like that, but looking into what that looks like. So you're going to start seeing some really cool stuff coming from us. Limited releases, some different, 6-row, all that kind of stuff, just in the sense of like, it may not yield a lot of, whiskey for us, but we believe that it has a lot of flavor in it. So, so that's definitely going to be coming this year, maybe.
Like distillery only, or some might actually make it in the market.
And quite literally, we just found out about it this last month. So that's like hot off the press.
Yep.
So
how much distribution, if any, is going to be on some of these things?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the Garryana, you'll look at kind of around that amount. So if you typically get it in your area, you'll probably see that amount in your area. So it's definitely going to be an allocated product, just because yield alone is just already small for us.
Yeah.
But you'll definitely keep an eye out for it, and we'll be talking a lot about it. You'll see a lot of information coming out from our distillery about it. So luckily, a lot of the people I know on this chat and that are Westland fans already are in an area that they can probably get it. But certainly, if you have questions, feel free to let me or Maebh know, and we can let you know if it's coming to your area specifically.
I assume that Mirage will have it. So
Yeah.
all the other cool Bruichladdich and Westland.
Right.
That's the place I assume it'll be going.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Well,
Yeah.
when
I
you're going to
agree.
buy it.
Outside of malt, Matt himself is just such a weird scientist when it comes to stuff. So I feel like, outside of just malt, he's played with a lot of different other things. So typically with our peated malt, we're getting that sourced from Inverness, so over from Scotland, which is actually the same place that we're getting our peated malts from Bruichladdich Distillery as well. So that's coming from us, already sourced over. But we are actually also, and we already have barrels laying down of malts that have been, peated malt that has been sourced from Washington State area. So it'll be the first of its kind ever done something, of that kind, because, obviously you're looking at a different climate, a different area. I mean, when you think about, peat in of itself, over in Scotland or Islay or any of that, you think of kind of like moss and, grass and, mucky, water and all that. And unlike that, in Washington and kind of the northern parts, we have like heather and floral and all that growing on top of the peat bog. So we imagine that it might taste a little bit different. It's TBD. We are still aging it. It's probably about 2 or 3 years into the project. So we'll see once we finally finish it. But that's another thing that we're really excited about. So you'll continue to see us innovating, and that's what's really great is we're not essentially a one-trick pony. Like, oh, we've found that this works, and we're going to continue to just create these 3 or 4 or 5 things, and that's going to be the end of it. I feel like our distillery at Westland really wants to keep pushing the boundaries when it comes to American single malt, which is
Absolutely.
good. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Very
to
exciting.
try that.
That you're doing that. Yeah. Will you guys be the first American company to use American peat in a whiskey?
We are going to be the first American, at least registered. Yes.
So how long do they think it'll be? Another 2-3 years, probably before
Probably another year or 2. Yeah. Before we're, pulling it out and then making sure that it's, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Silverlock Whiskey Club wants to know, what's the PPM on the Westland Peated?
Yep. So the Westland Peated, you're looking at about a 40 ppm.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty up there for sure from a ppm standpoint.
It is, and it doesn't really taste like it's that high either as far as the ppm go at all. Let's see. Ben Stahl wants to know, does Westland have their own malting facilities?
No, they do not.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts or plans of getting one?
Yeah. So, just like when it comes to barrel houses or just cooperages in general, or when it comes to malting facilities, when we look at stuff like that, we have been, just like the malt project for the peat, that was something that was done in a very small project that we did, a collaboration with a very small company, just the two of us. So that was something that was never done before. But when it comes to malt of that scale, it's hard to kind of scale that up from a like one-off perspective, and it costs a lot of money. So that, pipe dream, yeah, absolutely. We would love to do something like that.
Right.
But right now I think we're trying to focus on whatever we can do right now with what we have, and kind of in the next 5-10 years. But I imagine if you asked Matt Hoffman if he could do it tomorrow, I'm sure he would absolutely probably do it.
Have you ever had the balcones peated at all by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody, I guess Nathan's here, has mentioned he's had both, and that it's very different because of the climates. I guess
For
I think
sure.
just can you describe the climate up there? People that are not really not part of this country, that are from outside the country, what Seattle's weather's like, because they may not know.
Overcast, dreary, rainy, relatively cool most of the year. You have rain most days, not constantly raining, but definitely a light drizzle most of the time. And the winters get rather cool, and it never gets too hot up in Seattle. Lucky them. And
For real.
after we had a 90-degree day today. So I mean, it's very similar to Scottish weather. So I think that's also another nice feature that adds a similarity to single malts from Scotland and at Westland. They have a very similar climate, and it's very cool and damp most of the time.
And
So
you're on the same essential like latitude that you would be when you're talking about Scotland or Europe or anything like that. You're also by water, which is also causing a lot of that coastal, sea breeze, all that kind of stuff. So when Maeb's saying all that, it literally is very similar, like to what it would be to Scotland weather. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question is do you guys use 100% peated malt, or do they mix it with peat and unpeated malt?
So depends on what bottle we're talking about. When we're talking about this one, it would be a mixture. When we're talking about our peat week, it would be complete peat all the way through. Okay. So yeah, it would depend on the release. Our Garryana, we mix some of our different malts in with the peat, depending on what Garryana, but yeah, it would be a different malt build. So yeah.
Which one of those two do you want to move on to?
Sure.
I got empty glass here.
You're like,
it's time.
No.
He's like,
let's do Garryana next. I think that makes the most sense vertically.
You want to do 1 or 3 first?
Ooh, tough choice. Let's do 1 first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell them what Garryana is and all this awesome product. And unfortunately, especially this is the 16, which I think there's 1,000 bottles of this one. There wasn't very many of these made.
There weren't a lot of that one at all.
But thankfully, now Logan, I don't think Logan's in the chat tonight, but he found one of these down in Waco for me, which thankfully he's
Thanks,
a good
Logan.
guy. But Brian from Pit Face is in here, and we know that Westland goes really well with barbecue.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, so Garryana essentially is one of our specialty bottlings that we do up specifically with the distillery that we've started back in 2016. So it wasn't right at the beginning when we opened our distillery, but a few years into the project. If you guys are if I have any tree nerds on the chat tonight,
Arborists, if you will,
any oak nerds out there,
Everybody.
so there's essentially some Quercus alba, which many people are familiar with when it comes to oak barrels or anything like that. That's the most used commodity-wise when it comes to the different oak that is used for aging whiskey. And then you have what's called Quercus Garryana, which is just the type of species that we're talking about. So Garryana being the project that we work on when it comes to this particular whiskey. Garryana trees are native to certain parts of the globe. but they are very rare and native to certain parts, and endangered to some areas. So the only way that you can utilize Garryana tree for projects or for, in this case, whiskey, is if the oak has fallen or is in a lumber yard or is already, broken down, so to speak. So you can't break a Garryana tree down because it is endangered. So a Garryana tree is much more porous. It has a lot more going on in it. It's a little bit, it creates a lot of a different type of whiskey than that of a Quercus alba. And so this particular project for us, we started replanting Garryana trees up in the Pacific Northwest to give back to the earth, if you will. And then on top of that, utilizing what was already fallen and giving love and, paying our respects to the earth as well. So one and the same. Yeah.
All the good stuff. It's the special wood, that's for sure. Because it's only you and a couple other distilleries use the Garryana oak?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Is what?
There's really not a whole lot of people. One, because they're harder to find and definitely more expensive commodity wise. And you have to use
Erica,
them.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Whenever the trees fall, they have to dry out on their own before they can be touched, correct?
Right.
Or did I make that up? Okay.
No.
Okay. That's so cool. That's just an added step, and that just shows how thoughtfully this is being made, and the time they're spending to make this product, that they're willing to wait for this tree to dry in a very damp atmosphere. That's so
almost respectful to the tree.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And we also dry, for those of you that are wondering, we also environmentally age and or dry out all of the rest of our oak that we're utilizing as well, letting all of those tannins essentially bleed out. So if you were to ever visit our lumber yard or or our rick yard or anything like that, you'd see essentially a lot of like red, liquid, if you will, on the ground. That's essentially the tannin all bleeding out. We, unlike bourbon, cannot put a lot of tannin into our whiskey, just because if you're mixing that with malt, it's just going to be very stark and not going to age very well unless we were aging our whiskey for a long period of time and utilizing other grains. Corn does really great when it comes to tannins, but malt does not. So it doesn't matter as much when it comes to a cooperage, getting rid of the tannins in a bourbon scenario. But when it comes to a single malt or malt scenario, it just is really important to essentially get out as much tannin as you possibly can. So we let everything environmentally age in general.
Okay. So Silverlock wants to know, these barrels are virgin barrels. Is that correct?
So we do use virgin barrels. We also do different barrels too. So the Garryana that we're utilizing is going to be a Garryana barrel. So it's going to be a virgin Garryana. But we're also essentially, depending on what Garryana release it is, we're utilizing refill Westland cask or a first fill cask or whatever. So we're utilizing different casks just to kind of.
Have you started refilling any of the Garryanas yet?
We have. So those projects will take, as you can imagine, double as long, just like a sponge. You have to make sure you're aging them twice as long to make sure you're getting as much essence out of them.
Yeah, I know. As I was looking, I was like, no, one of the boxes says 20. I know the fourth one, I guess, does, but that's not peated. So that's for 2 weeks from now.
And some of them are peated. Some of them are not, and that is on purpose. It's just, whatever Matt wanted to do that particular year. I believe it was and do not quote me for sure, for those of you that are insane Westland nerds on the cast, which maybe not. But it was either a 2017 or 2018 project. I think it was 2017. We had to use a certain amount of Garryana, and we had to get really technical with it and age it for a certain amount of time, because unfortunately one of our lumber yards burned up in the middle of the night with all of our Garryana. And
awful.
so we essentially had to like get very resourceful and get very strategic when it came to our aging that particular year.
When did that happen?
I think so. That was our 2017 bottling, so it would have happened a year or two before that, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's awful.
Okay, that's horrible. Another
yeah,
question.
it's insane, you know, whenever these, and especially for these native species trees, to have something like that happen. But that's why we really believe in replanting and all of that too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that helps a lot. So Aaron Hardiman wants to know: do you inoculate the Garryana logs?
I don't even. I'm not
really 100% sure
I'm
what
not
that
sure what that.
But
Yeah.
Aaron, if you can ask it a different way, we can certainly try to answer.
Ask
I'm
it
not
a
really
different
sure what
way.
you want to know.
Yes.
Do we make it yummy? Yes.
Okay. So,
I'm sure if we
Oh,
had
that's
Chris
great.
Reestack or somebody on this, they'd be like, inoculate. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
They'd be
Grant
all over it.
Frazier, who's actually over in Scotland, says, have any of you guys been into Isla and dug peat? It's really hard work and gives you more appreciation of the peat in your bottle.
Yes, it is extremely difficult. We were actually just in Isla this past August, which was an incredible, unbelievable experience. But we did go cut peat one afternoon, and it looks like it would be not as extremely challenging as it was.
Super easy.
In my head, I was thinking, okay, it's going to be like tougher mud almost. And no, it was one of the most challenging. I couldn't cut one. Did I cut one? Maybe one.
You
It was
cut one.
extremely challenging. I was like, okay,
It's just
someone else's
fibers-
turn.
They're so fibrous that
Yes.
it's like cutting through each and every, fiber of that porous area that it's just, you have to like really put your back into it. Meanwhile, the other guy who came and like took us out, and he's like the normal guy that cuts it. He's just like, poop, 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 poop. I'm like, okay, thanks for making us look like idiots. He's like, there's nothing to it. Seriously. I was like, okay.
Like, well, I think there's everything to it. So
Yeah.
tell us your secrets.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so next question is also from Silver Locracy Club is, are you doing age-stated whiskeys for West?
Let me see, where is that one?
It's from Silver Locracy.
Age-stated. Are we doing any age-stated whiskeys? So we don't technically on the back put any of our ages on them, but on our Garryana, they do say how long essentially they were. Yeah, minimum of 3 for all of them. So I'll be fair and just say it's always between at least 3.5 to 7 years, and now we're going even longer because we're refilling these casks already. So we'll start getting up more now.
Okay, so here's our thing. So Aaron says many coopers inoculate the wood with certain mushroom species. Know anything about that at all?
I don't, but I'm really interested to find out more about that.
Okay, so you're essentially like introducing a barrel or a wood to a mushroom. I don't know if we do that, but that doesn't mean that we don't do it either. I can certainly find out. I'm going to write that exact question down and ask Matt Hoffman.
Okay, I'd like applying for it. I'd like to know. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can. Oh yeah, so I guess Galen, who is the I don't know, the STIEHL. He was here when you were here a couple years ago for the first time Westland was here, and Bruichladdich for the amazing night that was. So he wants to know when to come back. It was a blast.
A never-ending night.
Yeah, it went on a
Best
long
night.
time.
That was a fun night. Yeah.
It was a really fun night.
That is for sure. All right, so I think we answered everybody's questions. Okay, so I guess you want to move on to the next Garryana.
Yep, for sure. So we'll do 3.1 next. So the 3.1 was our 2018 release. This one is, let's see, it's a 56 ABV. This one has the 5 malt and the heavy malts in it.
Yeah, I'm pouring myself some more sherry wood. Here.
Do you have one of the Garryanas there at the house?
Bottles.
Huh?
Do you have one of the Garryanas there at the house?
We have samples of both of them. Matt gave a
I was
sample.
gonna say you probably would like the Garryana.
I smelled the first one, and
When we had the dinner here, we had all four here when Matt
That
was
was
here for
really
dinner.
cool. Yeah.
Did you
That was
try
great.
all of them that night?
I tried everything, but we were also drinking a lot. My palate was probably shot by the time we got to the,
Really
peaty stuff.
a ton of whiskey. It was great.
I will say that this Garryana, the 2016 Garryana, is far less peated than the peated Westland. Like this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
this-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Garryana is like it would almost be unsuspecting of peat.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, if this is 40 ppm, this smells and tastes like around 7.
Yeah, it's far on the
super
nose.
low.
Yes.
It's there. It's in there. It's floating around in there, but it's not
Yeah.
overpowering.
Yeah,
We've also got so many different casks on this one too, which help. I think it's got the New American Oak, the First Fill, X Bourbon, and X Port on this one,
Ooh.
and
a
a
refill.
Refill X Westland, and the Garryana. So
Yeah,
you
it's
got
it's
a
not
lot.
horrible. It's just not my thing.
there you go.
I tried.
Look at him.
Don't worry, we'll drink it for you.
It's a lot
Have
fruitier
at
than the peated. It's a lot fruitier. It's a lot
Well,
sure.
the port,
Yep.
all those fruit finishes. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Raspberry, a little bit.
Mhm.
Sherrywood.
So,
And you're gonna love the one we have in 2 weeks. I'm so excited for you to be the one 2 weeks from now.
I'm excited too.
It's
But
the
again-
barley expressions, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and I've had some of those. I like them.
Boop, boop.
Now, which ppm level is higher in the 1 or the 3? Are they about the same?
I'd say they're probably about the same. It doesn't disclose that.
It seems to be more complex on the 3, though, especially with that port being out. You can definitely
That
taste
port,
it.
that
Yeah.
port is insane.
That adds a whole new depth.
The 3 is the 2018.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, is it port that's from Portugal, or is it port, like a port type from America that you guys are using on that one?
It would be a Portugal cask.
Now, do you guys use different kinds of port, or just one, or just kind of whatever the heck you guys handle?
We get different types. We typically, when it comes to our sherrywood, we're getting it from the same family.
Mhm.
But when it comes to our port cask, it's not typically just from the same family. It might come from different houses that Hoffman essentially thinks is notable enough to use for our specific taste profile, if you will.
Okay. Do you know what kind of port it is? It's like a tawny or a ruby. What kind of port is it? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nor do I. But we'll add that to the question list.
Yeah, we can answer it all in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially gonna find out this mushroom thing here. This is wild.
I love when I get questions like that though, because it's like I've never gotten a question like that before, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
I get to
Then we're
learn
learning
something,
something too.
I get to learn something. Yeah.
I tell people that I'm a wine som. I was a wine som. I'm hoping to be one again at some point. But I tell people all the time, ask me all the ridiculous questions you possibly can, because if I don't know it, I get to go home and learn it.
Right. I'm going to go and research that word and what that means and all of it. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, kitty cat.
That's bacon cat.
Oh, Barry's back.
They're
Bacon.
distillery cat for the night.
That's
I had to
every
walk-
Monday.
I had to walk away and go find him. He was still asleep with the boy, which is very unlike him to be missing bacon. So
Yeah.
I went in there with a piece of bacon in my hand, and I just put it under his nose, and he
He's
followed
like,
me right on out of that room.
That's amazing.
Bacon kitty. He is here for every live stream as long as we have bacon. And some of our social distancing
And we always
videos
have
we
bacon.
record for our reviews.
Oh my
gosh. Is that
That
a
is
plate
amazing. Is that a tradition? You just have bacon for every tasting?
Yeah,
I love that.
I have found that bacon is really one of the best pairings with whiskey.
Mhm.
It doesn't
In
disrupt
life.
any flavors.
It just makes life better.
Well, it does make life better too.
Of course.
But it really it pairs well with all types of whiskeys, whether it be
savory, sweet, salty. Yeah.
All the good things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I
are
love
you
that.
guys a crispy bacon family, or are you?
I bake my bacon and I get really, really thick cut bacon, so it's kind of a combination between crispy and
Perfect.
soft. So there's definitely a crispness to it, but
Yum. That sounds amazing.
We're gonna do a smell-o-vision through the
Yeah.
screen.
Next time you go to town, Erica, let us know, and then we can have bacon and whiskey. It'll be perfect.
Yes. Next time, if you come again at the house, when
Done.
things can happen, we bring it to our.
2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be eating bacon while we do the barley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we tell Matt every time, tell the people that we're gonna have bacon. They should make some bacon because we're gonna eat bacon in the face, and he forgets.
Yes.
So here's your 2-week warning.
I love bacon.
We'll be ready.
Because Justin's been here for some other events just to come hang out because he liked hanging out over here. And he got to have bacon those times, so
Yep.
it's a good time.
I love a good BLT too. Oh,
Very good.
And there's so many good things you can do with bacon in your life. I mean,
It's true.
yeah, and several of the people in our chat have had Williams bacon as well at the Bastard Ball or at a tasting at Matt's house.
oh,
so.
you're like bacon is like known.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pocket bacon.
yeah, I even made a video on the channel. You can watch me how I make my bacon. So
That's amazing.
it's a thing.
It's totally a thing.
That's like the one thing I'm gonna write down tonight. I'm gonna be like, watch Will's
Bacon.
video on bacon.
Do
And
it.
then we're gonna be like, what were the questions? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know, but I know how to make really good bacon.
Ooh, there you go.
Your,
I like these ideas.
your
Now
bacon
we-
melt in your mouth.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know, but I got a candied bacon with this whiskey. I've got salty and applewood bacon with this whiskey.
We're gonna make it a whole thing. I
I'm
love
gonna-
it.
There you go.
It's gonna be a tasting thing now. It's gonna
Exactly. See, and even Nathan says now Westland needs to make a fat wash plated release. That sounds amazing.
happen. Just like we'll just do a luge. We'll just do a bacon luge.
We should build one of those for a tasting. A bacon.
DeVito.
That would be awesome. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
I'll wait for the next video there, Will.
There you go.
Okay.
Experiment by aging whiskey in a baking cask. That
Ooh.
might be interesting.
Ooh.
So we've actually done. You're giving me ideas to give to Matt. So
I'm thinking curing bacon in
In a barrel.
barrel.
And then putting
Ooh,
the whiskey in.
smoking. Ooh,
Mhm.
some ideas for our.
Peated bacon whiskey.
Wonder if Brian can make us that.
Peated bacon aged whiskey.
So each year, for those of you also kind of into like collecting or whatever, if you are up in Seattle next April, around April Fool's Day, I highly recommend you get in line for our April Fool's bottling. Each year we come out with an April Fool's bottling. We have come out with such whiskeys as Bold and Smooth.
That's
And
my
we
fave.
come out with Inferno whiskey, which is aged in Tabasco barrels, which is why the whole bacon thing happened.
Very cool.
Ooh.
This lovely one, which I have not opened yet, and I need to open it, but Sport Dram, whiskey, which is a great one. So
Nice.
that's a tried and true. So each particular year we come out with an April Fool's release. This year, with everything going on that we're dealing with, we just decided not to release this year just because we figured it was not really good timing. So we will come out with one next year. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're up in Washington around April Fool's Day, I highly recommend you picking up a bottle.
Snagging a bottle.
We always do something
Okay.
really funny and usually make fun of ourselves or just the whiskey industry in of itself. So,
That's fun.
and if you get really bored later tonight and you want to watch a really funny 3-minute, 4-minute video, I recommend looking up Bold and Smooth Westland. It'll make you crack up. I promise
It
you.
will. It will.
Will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we moving on to Peat Week next?
Yeah.
All right. Sarah's going to pour some sherry wood.
I poured a little extra this time.
Well, that's very, very light in comparison to the two Garryana
the
that
color
just came before it.
super straw color, right? Yeah.
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 Oh, well.
So we're drinking the 16, but I also have this 19 just to show you guys
I love that
the cool
modeling.
box.
I got
The
'em
box
set
is
up.
really cool.
I got them set up down here. And
Look
yeah,
at that.
the color difference
That
is really,
is
really
amazing
crazy.
right
Huh?
She said that looked amazing.
The bacon and the whiskey.
Yeah, right.
That's
The hell of a
tasting
spread.
too.
It's a, you know, it's the way I live my life.
Or
on Monday.
something and send it to her.
Yeah,
Oh.
overnight some bacon.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
smells really nice and peaty.
Yep. So our Peat Week, for those of you unfamiliar with Peat Week, so the one that we're tasting tonight is our Peat Week 2016 release. So each year since 2016, we've come out with a new release. Peat Week for us is kind of a week of peat, and we celebrate peat in all of its glory and what it is and what it represents, and what it can do. We do cocktails throughout the week, and it doesn't have to just be peated stuff. We kind of just celebrate the distillery and Westland itself, but we give a lot of tribute to peat. And at the end of the week, we obviously release a new variation of Peat Week. And it's kind of taken on a form of its own. Each year, we kind of have a circus theme, if you will. The first thing I think we did was like a horse and kind of like wild kind of thing. One year it was like the guy getting shot out of a cannon. So we kind of have fun with it. We are completely ridiculous with it, but we want full flair and full whatever, because Peat Week release for us is a full peated whiskey. You're going to have leather. You're going to have, tobacco. You're going to have lots of peat, florally lovely notes, but we want it to be a nice peated whiskey.
Mm-hmm. That is very peaty and very wonderful.
You're going to get in that bacon now.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm just really mad I don't have bacon.
You're not, this is why you got to warn people.
How many times can we say bacon and everybody can take a drink?
Now that is a dangerous, dangerous drinking game.
Especially if you let the chat participate.
I know, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just always in our house. We always have bacon made, and there's always bacon in the fridge.
Let's
So
go
you're-
to my house.
Are you taking any adoptions?
We're a package deal, so
We've contemplated it.
I mean,
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I wanted to skip children and go straight to grandchildren. So
See?
my thought was to try to like adopt a 17-year-old anyway. That way, I just kind of only have that for just a short period of time. Chances are
Right.
I'm going to have a kid anyway. So I get my
hopefully
grandkid.
a while after 17. Thank you.
Yeah.
They came
Love
from-
your child.
They came from the system. I couldn't change them that much.
I'm matching drum. I see you guys. Hey, Matt.
Let's see here.
Don't
Silver
believe
Luckers Club wants to know, is the ppm on the Peat Week higher than 40?
Is the Peat Week? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can answer that on the nose alone.
Yeah.
And then
Any idea what it is on that one?
I can smell it from here.
16? God, I'd have to look that one up. I don't even remember now. Let me see if I can do a quick search.
Okay.
It's also higher in like proof too. It's 100 proof, so that alone is already going to kind of be a little bit hotter.
Yeah.
Good point.
on your single cask expressions, are y'all releasing those at cask strength?
And the single cask, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
If
thought I
you
had
ever find a single cask out in the wild, I would recommend you pick one of those up. Maeve, did y'all get one in Texas? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a sample of one.
I was
That's all
going to
I've
say,
got.
I think I've tasted a Westland single barrel. But
Yeah, we tasted some in the vault too.
okay.
Oh, and Nathan brought one to Engelberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was delicious.
Yes.
Well, Nathan has a
Is
lot
there
of
anything that's
rare
not delicious
whiskey.
from West? I've yet to meet. I like them all. Oh, Jason's in here.
Jason from I saw Jason from Mash Drums on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Jason.
Hey, Jason. It's saying on here 30 ppm, but it's on another site, so I don't know how
I think they're wrong.
Reliable.
confident I am in that, so I might need to get back on you.
Pretty confident based on the taste, not the case.
Not the taste. It's peaty. It's leathery. And you're also, I will say too, and this might be a big variant for us too as well when we're tasting this, is it's all, I mean, we're looking at all peated malt when it comes to this particular one, whereas the other one has a lot of different malts and different casks and all that going on in there too. So that also plays a factor when it comes to tampering down a
Maybe at the end.
peated expression.
True.
We're done with
Well, then yes.
Mm. Yum.
You don't want to taste the peat week, Sarah?
No, he's trying to convince me to smell two different ones to compare the peat, and I don't want to. So,
I would like. I was just trying to get her to
You
tell
should do
me
it for the people.
what percentage
people
you
want to know.
know.
people don't want that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
The people want to know.
People.
They want to know.
The
Peat.
The people.
All you do is smell it. Nobody told you how to taste it.
That's right.
It smells just as bad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then that one.
Which one smells worse? Let's go with that plan.
The peat week.
Don't make her do it.
The peat week.
Yes, the peat
So
week.
that's the one you guys need to know. Most heavily peated based on Sarah's nose.
Yep.
The nose doesn't lie.
The nose doesn't
I
lie.
can find the smallest amount of peat in anything. It's sad.
That should be the new thing for Super Chat. Sarah should smell peat.
Oh, that'd be so bad.
That's mean.
So
So mean.
Although that means
Hey,
I always have to
Loki.
have something good poured, and I would not be.
Doesn't mean you can drink it.
I
Till
wouldn't
it's
be sad
over.
about it though. Okay, so
Shut up and drink.
I feel like with what samples I have in front of me here, I feel like we're about to move from Westland to Bruichladdich. Am I in the ballpark?
I think you're in the ballpark.
I think
All right.
so.
Then I'm going to take these four and mix them together while you
Yeah.
start talking about Bruichladdich and give us kind of a history of that and all of those things.
Nate, do you want to give history?
I'm gonna
Like,
smell
give us
so
some
bad.
history?
It smells so bad.
Absolutely. So Bruichladdich is a distillery on Isla. We are the smallest distillery, but we do employ the most amount of people on the island, which is something that is actually my favorite part about the distillery. Just briefly, the people of Bruichladdich are really just trying to give back to the community and make Isla, a place where they can grow their families and their lives. And Bruichladdich has been fantastic in fostering that passion for these people. And I love one other little tidbit is I love that everyone in the distillery starts at the gift shop. So in order for you to get to other paths working at the distillery, you start at the gift shop. And you work your way up, and it's just a really fair way for everybody to kind of, get their, what's the word I'm looking for, to earn their stripes.
Yeah. And to understand really that the heart of this is selling the whiskey.
Yep.
Right.
It's got to be something that the people want to come in and buy. So the sales part of it really, that I don't think there's anything wrong with that being the first thing everybody has to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it was founded by a family, and Remy had, as many family-owned operations do, they have their ups and downs, had a few wars in between, and fast forward, Remy Cointreu acquired Bruichladdich, and has been really eager to foster their passion. And they don't want to stifle any of their traditions or change the way they're doing anything. Remy is all about just really nurturing everybody's ideas to make these beautiful products. And I'd say that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well said.
Yeah, Silverlock wants to know about Octomore 10.3. We don't have 10.3 tonight, but we do have 10.4, which we'll get to. And we're not doing 8.3.
10.3 is probably behind me.
Oh, see, she has it.
I have one. Isla Barley, but yeah, we're doing the 10.4 tonight.
Yeah, the 8.3 they're asking about too is like, oh, we have 8.3 and we've done 8.3. 8.3 is freaking awesome.
8.3 is a great one.
8.3 is William's
My
favorite.
It's also my wife's favorite whiskey of all time. So,
have either of you guys tried the 10.4 yet?
Nope, not yet. I will hear in a few minutes whenever you tell us to.
I'm so excited.
Sarah's not excited.
You better mouthwash in like 5 times before you come to bed tonight.
Sarah is not looking forward to her goodnight kiss.
Do some classic Lottie, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bottle this.
We're gonna bottle this guy down.
There's not a lot left.
Sarah, I'm gonna give you some love after this. We'll make sure that we
hook you up.
There's not a lot in here.
Yeah.
When does Garryana come out every year? Just to wonder, because Galen's asking.
Yeah, so toward like September, October-ish usually. Yeah.
Yeah, and Galen, if you want, just call William at Mirage. I'm sure he'll get you a bottle.
Yeah, if I would be remiss to say if any of you are outside of the Dallas area, I mean, I'm in Atlanta. We still have some Garryana available here in the Atlanta area. So if you have not gotten a bottle, make sure that you're either asking myself, Maebh, or your local retailer. There's a good chance that it's sitting at the distributor collecting dust and wanting some love somewhere.
I don't think that we have any
Our
more.
people gladly take that off your hands.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
So you want to start with
I think we still have like one case left of the 4.1. We haven't gotten rid of all of the 4.1 yet.
So let's talk
through MC1 for those of you on the chat tonight. You are drinking a duty-free global travel retail bottle. So this beauty. So for those of you also that are kind of familiar with Port Charlotte, we relaunched our Port Charlotte series here about a little over a year ago now. And if you've been reading any whiskey news, you've probably seen it. We've done really, really well with it so far. We're really proud of essentially the relaunch of what we've been doing. We're making essentially not only some new expressions, but we're also essentially giving it some life. Port Charlotte always kind of fell somewhere in the middle of the Octomore and then the classic Lottie, and it never really it never really got the proper love that it deserved. If you asked Adam Hannett, our master distiller, or as he likes to call himself because he doesn't believe he's a master yet, our star distiller, he essentially his favorite expressions are the Port Charlotte range. I mean, he loves Octomore and he loves the Bruichladdich ranges and all of that, but his favorites are his Port Charlotte ones. So Port Charlotte for us, for those of you unfamiliar with the Isla area, Port Charlotte is actually part of Isla. It's just south of our distillery. It used to be part of the Lockendall distillery, and we really put a lot of love into these particular expressions. When we started and on the island, started essentially peating malt, and we have record of it back in the late 1800s. We're kind of essentially paying tribute with our Port Charlotte range when it comes to with those particular ones. So it's not the exact recipe that maybe they did at Lockendall Distillery and right where they did Port Charlotte and all that kind of stuff, but this is essentially giving tribute to those that did it before us and will continue to do, here on after. So the Port Charlotte range, for those of you that don't know, we now make a Port Charlotte 10-year-old. So the Port Charlotte 10, we make a Port Charlotte Isla barley, which is exclusive for only barley made on the island of Isla. And then we also do Port Charlotte cask expressions. So if you go to the distillery, you can find it cask expressions, and then you can find Port Charlotte MRC, which is available right now. So that's a wine cask. And then we'll have continued wine casks or other casks here in the future. Those will be the allocated ones that are kind of, smaller in quantity, but we'll always have a Port Charlotte 10. We'll always have different Port Charlotte Isla barleys, but the one
What's your favorite
is the Port Charlotte MC. The what?
What's your favorite?
Oh Lord.
Sophie's choice. I know.
I know it really is. I
love the Isla barley ones.
Port Charlotte Isla barleys are delicious.
Yeah.
And then the MRC that came out is freaking phenomenal. Yeah, freaking phenomenal. So that is available in the U.S. If you see it out in the wild, I highly recommend
snagging it for sure.
So Matt, I have poured. Yeah. I'm trying to make sure that I'm reading your writing right. I have poured here a 10-year Port Charlotte and 2009 MC1.
That's the one. Yeah, pour that one right now.
Okay.
Pour the MC1. So the MC is a duty-free global travel retail only. So I brought that back from the distillery.
Don't touch your peat to me. I finished off my classic Lottie, and it's actually a lot more than it felt like in the bottle. So
see?
Aware of that when you're pouring your frosted bottles, people. I do like that.
So Clifton McDaniel's new to Peat. He's also another channel. So if anybody hasn't checked out Clifton, please do so. He's new to Peat, and he wants to all Port Charlotte releases peated.
So all Port Charlotte releases are peated. A great breakdown for those of you unfamiliar with Bruichladdich. I know our distillery is very confusing. We make a lot of different ranges and we call them very different things. And we're kind of like a Coca-Cola. Like we have Sprite and we have Coke and we have all these different things, but we're made under Coke.
Yep.
So you have Bruichladdich. So if you see it in big bold print and you see Bruichladdich written on it, that is a guaranteed, essentially, even if you see it on the black card expression. If you see Bruichladdich written on it, just like hers, that is an unpeated expression. You are not going to get any peat in any of those expressions whatsoever. Our Port Charlotte expressions are heavily peated, always will be, forever and ever and ever, 40 ppm, tried and true, forever and ever. And then our Octomore, which is our most heavily peated, will always be, always heavily peated. So anytime it ever says, like in big bold words, Bruichladdich, like this would not be a peated expression. You might see that made at Bruichladdich Distillery on the back, but it's not going to say like Bruichladdich in bold print. So that's just the easiest way of like breaking it down. I know it's not really helpful in the sense of like distillery, but like it just helps when you're thinking of it in concept overall. Yeah.
So even the Bruichladdich Isla barley, they know that it says Bruichladdich, so they can trust that it may be Isla barley, but it's unpeated Isla barley.
It is unpeated Isla barley. Yep.
The yellow one.
Yep.
We should talk about Black Heart in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
I agree.
Especially the 4.1. It's my favorite.
Oh, great one. So the MC for this one is 48% French oak for 6 years, 62% American whiskey for 6 years. We combined them and we did an ex-Sicilian cask for wine casking for an additional 2 years.
It's freaking delicious. Yeah, I never had it before right now. This is really good.
That's really yummy. It's really
different. Yeah, I really like that a lot.
I just thought of a Westland question.
Sure.
I'm going to throw at you real quick. Now that the TTB has changed their laws a little bit and allowing for age statements after switching casks, will you think about putting age statements on some whiskeys now that you can actually put some longer time on there because they moved around and such.
Yeah, I think that we're always going to probably feel that. I mean, I don't want to get too into the weeds on this one.
Sorry,
I feel like I know we're already trying to fight a battle of winning, trying to find our regulation on being an American single malt right now. So I think that's first and foremost. We really want to focus on getting that figured out and being at least seen in the eyes of those that, you know, we can regulate. That's first and foremost. Then I think second, if it comes to that, we absolutely would start putting a few age statements for releases. We're about to, I mean, this year would essentially be our 10th year, essentially being an evolution. I don't know if we're going to come out with a 10-year-old bottle or anything like that. I definitely am not putting that out there because we don't know even if that would be a thing. But I would be remiss to say if something like that weren't to, you know, happen in the future. So, yeah. I think the core range is always going to stay the same. I think that, you know, Matt believes that he just wants it to be a damn good whiskey and it to speak for itself. But I think it, you know, in time, just like you've seen with Bruichladdich is always kind of strayed away from doing age releases. And then in the last, you know, few years, they've done, here's this cask exploration and it's X years old or whatever. We don't want it to speak that age equals excellence, but we want it to speak, this is how old it is, and it's got this much going on. So,
okay. So Graham's got another question. It says, how often is the Port Charlotte and the Octomore made in the Bruichladdich stills?
Hold on. Read that again.
Here, I'll
pop it up. There we go.
Make it easier. Yeah.
Often Port Charlotte are made in the Bruichladdich stills. Okay, yeah. So I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, we've got about 40% Bruichladdich. No, 60% Bruichladdich, 40% Port Charlotte, and the rest is Octomore. Is that am I
So
doing the math right?
about 60% of your time, your stills are running unpeated malt.
Correct. Yeah.
I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking, and that's what we've gotten broken down to us as of recently. And that, you know, if you think about it, that's what would make the most sense. You know, our core range is heavily concentrated on making sure classic Lottie is made and some of our unpeated expressions. But Port Charlotte has gotten a ton of focus. So Port Charlotte used to be like 20-30% of what we'd be doing volume wise in the stills, but we've escalated that quite a bit in the last year, 2 years or so. So
he just said, yep, that's the question.
Perfect.
Now I get another question from Donald. It says, are there going to be any older Port Charlotte questions coming out? I've had the 12-year. Oh my gosh, I cannot pronounce either of those words, and it was fantastic. How do you pronounce either one of those words?
Is he doing no? Is that the wine expressions for the 12-year-old? I think he's asking if there were wine expressions for the 12-year-old. Yeah. Both of them are incredible. I haven't even tasted those, so I
haven't either.
Impressed that he even has. Maebh and I have been to the distillery and we've seen like all the different bottlings that have been done, and it's pretty astounding to see everything
really
above you.
It is. And that's another
thing
is they line them all out and it just blows you away.
So are there going to be anything older than the 12-year-old? Or is there anything?
So there is stuff already older than the 12-year-old. The Black Art and the Old and Rares are older than the 12-year-olds. Black Arts typically range from like a 22 to a 24, 26-year-old. Yeah. And then our recent releases, what's called our Old and Rare, for those of you that don't know the Old and Rare series,
that's right.
We have 30 to 32-year-olds now. So
I've seen them, but haven't been able to get one yet. Maybe someday. They're pretty up there.
Yeah, I know. They are definitely a little bit on the expensive side, for sure.
Yeah. If you win the lottery, that's the ones I buy, for sure.
Exactly. Or like go to find a tasting somewhere, some random day.
Yeah, that'd be the best way, I guess.
Are you going to bring one to us? Is that what you're saying?
Some random person that we know.
like,
That,
I don't know,
mean,
like, we'll
We
see.
can host another dinner. We can do a Bruichladdich dinner. We're not opposed. I mean,
totally
You
know.
never know.
we've been known to do
We can
things
fill
like
up a house. I'm just saying.
You know it.
Yeah, and they're unpeated, Sarah. They're unpeated.
Yay.
even
The win.
better.
You got my vote.
Yeah, right.
It's a
I figured
win-win.
that would
Yeah. Always happy to host an awesome whiskey dinner.
Right.
My wife even likes those. So
Love
Yeah,
it.
she'd like that anyway, because if they brought the Octomore.
yeah, exactly. I mean, well, it's Bruichladdich. She loves all their stuff, so it doesn't matter. But especially Octomore, so she's
There you
like
go.
by far her favorite. So it doesn't.
So
Really
we got people already asking for an invite for the dinner.
maybe someday when all this
That's a
stuff
good
ends.
sign.
Right.
Yeah.
When we're all
The
together
few that
again.
you
and
have
I'm
to
not
go-
doing this.
I can't imagine a tasting at Matt's house with 6 feet social distancing. Not with the amount of people that come to his house.
it won't
I
work
know,
out.
because I feel like whenever I was there, I was like, I've never seen so many people in one room in my life. Period.
But it was a really good time, and everybody was pretty,
I know. Hey, no, it's
normal.
all good. It's all good.
It was fun. Yeah, and
It
like
was
the last time was the Westland dinner, and I guess we limited that to 25, so that was fun.
That was a lot of
good
fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Brian was in the Brian. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but Brian was here for that.
Yeah, Brian was there.
So I've gone back and forth a little bit between the 10-year-old
Tell.
Port Charlotte and
He's like, I'm just drink the whiskey.
the MC1.
Yeah.
The 10-year-old for me, that's I don't know. That's my cup of tea. It's much
See? There you go. I love that.
and denser.
No, I'm so glad that you think that, because I mean, for me, Port Charlotte 10 is one of the best expressions we've released in a core range, or any whiskey for that matter, and for a long time. And I'm really proud of it. So
Yeah. I agree with you.
yeah, this is really, really yummy.
I mean, for those of you that have had the Port Charlotte in the past, they were all exceptionally great. The white 10, the yellow 10, and all that. This one is going to be in like a black short 10 like this. But this one is actually done in a first fill an American whiskey cask and a second fill American whiskey cask. But it's also finished in a French wine cask too. So it rounds it out really beautifully.
Mhm.
And we also have it aging longer than the old expressions were aging. So I think it's an awesome, awesome whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
We got another question from Ben. It says, will Bruichladdich be bringing their Micro Province Series single cast U.S. Kensington wine markets to release their single cast this weekend?
Put it back up there. Are they okay? So there's something going on this weekend.
Yeah. So in Kensington, I don't know if they're bringing them specifically to Kensington wine market. Wait, what? Hold on. I know about the Micro Provenance series for the U.S. Kensington wine market. Just released their. Wait, am I not understanding that question? Am I?
I think he wants to know if they come to the U.S. I'm assuming Kensington is in Scotland or England or something.
For sure. Okay, so the Micro Provenance, the first initial and the second Micro Provenance were already released recently. The next one that we do, if it's been released already, I don't think it has, but if it has been, then yes, if you are on our registration and all of that kind of stuff, then you're absolutely able to get one, as long as you're, one of the lucky few that gets one. Also, I would recommend, for those of you that don't know, Isla every single year does a festival bottle release. And we're doing a lottery this particular year because obviously we can't do a festival because of everything going on. So make sure that you go check out the website and see if you can get yourself a festival release bottle, because you don't have to physically be there now, and you can potentially get a festival release bottle.
Sweet.
Into Texas.
All right. Good to
Fucking
know.
Texas.
Okay. Next question for Maebh is, Clifton wants to know, are there any releases coming to California? Feels like he's having trouble finding most of them there.
Yeah. So We can. I mean, Maeve can answer that for sure.
Yeah, no, there's definitely releases coming to California. We can hook you up with a retailer. What depends on what market you're in, and we can reach out to our contacts there and figure out which retailer to direct you towards, and get you set up.
Yeah, let us know what city you're in, and we can reach out to a person out there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
Clifton,
problem.
send me an email and I'll get your question out to them, and then I'll get you an answer.
Yep.
Okay. So apparently Kensington is in Alberta, and Donald says he can actually find the MC1 in Canada. It was on the shelves in Quebec and Alberta, apparently. So apparently you can get it in Canada.
That was
That's
supposed
cool.
to be a global travel retail only.
Apparently you got lucky.
Canada.
Somebody
Canada's
in
breaking the rules.
distribution missed the buck on
Someone decided to send MC instead of MRC by accident. You got to pick up that bottle, sir.
That's some of your good Canadian stuff. Come on.
Yeah, you better grab a couple of those.
Share the love.
Seriously.
I love it.
Oh, yes. Pat wants to know from my whiskey den, what is your favorite Octomore?
Oof.
He says he has this MRC 01 as well.
MRC 01 was really
MRC you can get. MC you cannot get.
Yeah,
Right.
so apparently he's got both.
Oh, well,
Lucky him.
lucky duck.
I know.
Okay, so Pat says he's rephrasing his question. Are they getting a single cast version of the microprovince in the U.S. at all?
Yeah, okay, that's better phrase for sure. Thank you. Yes, we're looking into that. So when Maeve and I were over there last year, we were able to taste all of the different varietals of barley that we're trying to essentially do from microprovenance. And then from a barley release microprovenance, they're looking into doing something like that too right now. I'm sure it seems like you're heavily into the Bruichladdich right now, but if you're unaware, then we just acquired our own barley fields and are able to kind of do our own kind of crazy quirky stuff. So you'll start seeing some stuff from that as well that we'll be able to release and bottle and all that kind of stuff too.
Super exciting.
Yes. In a couple of weeks, we'll get into all the awesome stuff on the Bruichladdich, all those bottles with the farms and all that cool stuff. We start talking about the barley.
Yeah.
Those
and that's a great point too. Yeah, that's a great point too. If you're on in 2 weeks, we're talking a ton about barley exploration. So if you want to hit me with some more questions specific to barley releases or anything like that, me and Maeve can definitely get those answers.
For sure. Yeah, and if y'all have any questions ahead of time, send them over so that we can make sure that we get you everything covered before you even get started.
What's the website for the event bottle that you mentioned?
Oh, so let me get that for
Bottle?
you. Yeah, let me get it for you.
Hey, chill.
Children.
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 Oh, they know. They've seen the children.
Oh, they know.
Oh, they both know. They've both been here with both of them.
They've both seen the
actually know.
children. Or mostly just that one child.
It's empty. Give me that one. Thank you. Thank you. Give me another one. Yeah. Thank you.
Baby, my whiskeys. What the hell are you doing?
It's a cat. It's not my fault you have 5 glasses right here.
I like to explore the whiskey.
Pat wants to know, can he accidentally knock down any Garryana trees to help the process?
You wouldn't be the first one to ask something like that.
How long does the Garryana tree typically grow? Or how long does you need it to grow before the wood is something that you're going to want?
100 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how much wood are y'all planting? I assume a whole lot.
We plant, I think at any given time, we plant about 100 trees. We try to plant as much as we possibly can. And we obviously have to like spatially do them. We have a lot of foresters that are with us and a lot of people that are, botanists and people that specifically look into this type of wood and species so we can plant them accordingly. And we're not just like sporadically just planting them wherever. We're planting them where they're actually going to healthfully grow. But we have the ones that we have already planted. We've already seen them sprout up, and they're already coming up from the ground in the last couple of years, which is already pretty interesting to see. So,
Thank you.
but yeah. I will link, because the link is really long to the festival bottle. I'll link it once we post the video tonight or tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Fair enough.
Put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Problem solved.
King Jackie, that was for you.
Okay.
All right. Are we on to?
Octomore.
We're already started drinking Port Charlotte 10, aren't we?
Yeah. We can talk all about it anyway.
William's over here doing an Octomore dance, so
Just pour more Port Charlotte 10.
The best
we'll
kind of
get
dance.
a little bit. I mean, I can pour like 5 or 6 different ones, but that's a different story. I'm not opposed to doing that either. But I want to do the 10.4 first, since I never had it.
Yes.
God, you
And our process for peat, for those of you that are on the chat that haven't had, Octomore or Port Charlotte, and are trying to get into peat, but are pretty turned off by it, or are still trying to figure it out. We do what's called a slow and low burn. We do that in the sense of mesquite barbecue or anything like that. So we try and take that process, and we truly try and marinate the flavors. We don't try and like smoke them really harshly. We try to get those so they are almost like a toasted marshmallow or bonfire approach, and less of that iodine medicinal taste. And we do that on purpose, so it you can marinate with your whiskey. It's great with bacon, I hear.
Sign me up.
It's a great pairing. But yeah, it's we've done that approach because we really want peat to be a exploration of flavor and not to just be a one note only sort of thing. So yeah.
Okay. So Matt, have you poured the 10.1?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I will. I just don't know if we say anything else about the Port Charlotte 10. So I know it replaced the previous non-age statement one. What was that, 2 years ago, I guess that's when it came out?
Yeah, I think when I was actually at your place doing the live, I think that I was talking about Port Charlotte 10, and it either had just come out or was about to come out, and we were like opening that bottle.
That's right. It was.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because when I met you over at Mirage for the first time, you had your backpack of goodies, and that was one of the goodie samples in there.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, you had some of that.
Like, oh yeah, Matt. I was like, who is this guy? And he was like, he has a big collection. I was like, this guy is crazy.
And we love him.
He was like, and I have this bottle and this bottle and this bottle. I was like, what? And I was like, I think he's pulling my leg. I don't think he does. And then I get there and I was like, what in the?
You have real life proof.
He has them all.
I like see his like bar and I'm like, this is impressive. And then like he shows me the side room and I'm like, what in the heck is that?
And then there's the office, and yeah,
Like where are the bodies buried?
under the whiskey.
Yeah, we'd never know it.
He's like pulling. He's like, and this distillery isn't even around anymore. And then this distillery, let's open this bottle. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, let's open this bottle.
Can't take it with you. Whiskey's for sharing.
That's right.
That's the whole point. All right.
Man, I have been sharing a lot during this time. I'll tell you that.
Same here.
And by sharing, I mean myself.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll just see our neighbors kind of wandering outside our house, and I'm like, they need some libations.
Some stuff.
So funny. People are like, I can't go look for. Do you have any whiskey? Yeah, I have some whiskey. Or people are
Might
like,
have a few bottles laying around.
yeah, exactly. Like I might have some extra whiskey, and then they're like, well, can I get samples of stuff? I really want to get into Scotch. Oh, we can go down that road. We can definitely help you in that.
Where do you want to start?
They're like, then you give them
Have
good
you done like a recent count of how many bottles?
Yes, like 2,500, something like that.
Wow.
My God.
That is wild.
It's insane.
So you're not ever planning on moving?
I was just going to say that.
Why did you make
Because the moving company would look at you and be like, no.
No, not doing that.
It's a mad insurance on that.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's fine. Go.
Oh, okay. Well, I poured the 10.4. I believe you have 2, Matt.
Stop talking.
I'm not going to stop talking.
You smell.
She doesn't like my peat breath.
You smell.
She makes me do a bourbon rinse before I give her kisses at night.
Bourbon rinse. Probably tonight is going to be like bourbon rinse,
Bath.
and then like you're going to have to mouthwash teeth and then mouthwash again.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Bleh. Do it before you come to bed. Just don't breathe on
Just
me.
like chew on some mint.
Raw mint.
Yeah.
No, you won't. Push you out of bed.
Eat a lot of bacon. I hear bacon's really good for you.
That's awesome. Oh, that's really. So this is virgin oak, right? The 10.4.
The
Yeah.
10.4 is virgin oak.
Oh.
Are you both drinking 10.4?
I am now. So tell us about it because this is amazing.
It's about 88 ppm.
Ugh.
Cool.
Distilled in 2016 from the 2015 harvest. 100% Scottish barley. Matured entirely on Islay for 3 years. Full term virgin oak cask maturation. Bottled, unchill filtered, coloring free, obviously, just like Bruichladdich does. And we had about 12,000 bottles.
All American or French oak? Do you know? Mixed?
French.
French virgin.
Lovely, lovely. So with virgin French oak and wines, I typically get coconut notes, and then I get soft kind of tones of vanilla and little bits of caramel.
Mm-hmm.
But the coconut tone in French oak, at least in wines, is what kind of dominates.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
It's in there. It's really
So-
varied.
Wow.
So how old do you think this is? Did you say that, Maeve? I don't think you said it. And
No, I
I
didn't.
purposely didn't put the. I purposely. I'm glad you didn't say it.
No, I know most ranges are between 5 and 8.
I was going to say most Octomores are typically pretty young.
If I told you it's 3 years old, would you kind of?
This
blow
is
your mind?
3? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because from what it's so good. From what my palate,
It's like butter. It's like butter.
I have to grab the 8.4. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
the
He might be a while. Who knows how far?
I know where it is.
He's gonna go to like one of the 8 rooms.
yes,
Seriously.
He's like a little mole, like just like trying to gotta
from
get through all the holes.
my experience with peat typically is the older it is, the less the peat shows up in the bottle. I feel like it's either the carbon, the inside of the carbon on the barrel, the char layer. I think that really strips out a lot of the carbons that come through in peat. So the older the whiskey gets, I feel like the less peaty it is, even if it was a really high ppm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, what he said. That's fair.
Stop. Really.
Yeah, and especially with a virgin oak, you're probably going to char that to a nice level, and really pick up a lot of the charcoal filtration. It's gonna take a lot of the carbon out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't surprise me at all that that's only 3 years old. It's very, very rounded for being only 3 years old.
It is, and I'm really glad that you guys are tasting this like right now for the first time. It is one of my favorite ones we've had since like 7 or 8 series, because like it is so buttery and so beautiful and caramelly and light. It's just got so much floral note on it. And I think Adam did a great job in the 10 series period. Like all of our 10 series are great, but I love 10-4. 10-4 is just so good.
Yeah, I tried 10-1. A buddy drove 6 hours to get it. I was like, I'll let you, because he came to Milwaukee. I was like, okay, I'll let you have. You drove 6 hours.
Mash and Drum is saying, how good is that?
So, is 10.4 available for sale yet in the U.S.? Not yet.
Whoa.
Yes, sir. It is.
It is lovely.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, you really stink now. Like it just like jumped up to,
like that just put it over the edge. Like,
I was horrible there, and now it's like, don't look at me. Talk that way.
I think my last favorite. Well, I have a lot of favorites of Octomore, but my last favorite was probably the 7.4, and this was like a good nod to like the 7.4. Yeah, I think when it comes, like everybody always asks, they're like, what of the Octomore expressions are your favorite? So for those of you, again, I feel like I just jump into this stuff and we just get so excited. We just can't help ourselves.
We can't help it.
Get very excited. There's no doubt.
We have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4 for those of you that haven't, tasted Octomores before or just always really curious why we make things so complicated at our distillery. We have 0.1 is always going to be Scottish barley. The 0.2 expression is always going to be global travel retail, or if you're traveling or anything like that. 0.3 is going to be always Islay barley exclusively. And then the 0.4 is always going to be, unless Adam changes his mind or he switches it up on us, which is not uncommon, virgin oak. We always say that it is the rule unless it's not. And Adam is just, toys with us. We've had certain releases where we had like 2 of the 3 released, and he's like, oh, surprise, 10-year-old in this one. And we're like, how do you explain that to people? They're going to be confused. He released a 10-year-old in the 9 series, and we're like, why didn't you wait till the 10 series? Literally blow people's minds up. He was like, no, why? Like, stupid Americans. Why don't you just figure it out?
Stupid Americans.
Don't overthink it. That's right.
There's nothing
Also,
stupid.
he would never ever say that. He would never ever say that. No. I just call it. I just say that because I feel like he's like, come on, guys, just this. Come on, keep up.
It's a program.
It's like it's just easy. I just
put
a 10-year-old in the 9 series, call it a day. And I'm like, well, okay.
And that's that.
But you know what I could have done for this with marketing?
I know. Like, just wait a year, buddy.
Yeah.
No, we love him. He's the best. He's the best.
Well, we're going to have to make William see if we can get us a 10.4 because that is freaking amazing.
It is
so dark and dense, the 8.4 compared to the. It's not even. It's totally different whiskey.
So crazy, right? Yeah, I'm glad you're comparing them.
Oh, the 7, and I only have the 7.1 here, which is again completely different barley strain.
Yeah. Oh, the 7.1 was another fabulous one though. Like that's such a good comparison overall.
Okay, so Ben wants to know: was the 6 series the first Islay barley, and also we need to have an Octomore night? Totally.
No.
That's a great idea.
No.
I'm all for Octomore night.
No,
I think that will be a great show.
For you.
And
Oh, fuck off.
Sarah's going to be conveniently sick that night.
Mixer anything. I'll color. Drink bourbon.
Color.
Color and drink bourbon.
she's got an adult coloring book. She has been known to color.
I love that.
I'm all for that.
You gotta do what you gotta do, okay?
That's right.
You guys have fun.
Let's see. So that's
See,
one.
Clifton's gonna join me. That's right, Cliffy. You join me. Don't go to the dark side.
Oh. Oh,
like, Daddy smells.
See, and Nathan Clark says he'll even fill in for you. It's a 5-hour commute, but totally worth it.
We'd have to do something with your hair. And
It's probably worth it. You should try
They make
Octomore.
wigs.
Make wigs. There you go.
oh no, this is real, baby. You ain't putting a wig on. You're gonna fill in for me. You got to do the real deal.
I don't think that'd be a deal breaker. Nathan, what do you say?
There's been some others that have volunteered in the past. That can be arranged, she said. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to mess up a night to drink on live stream. It just won't drink.
Just not this.
Just not the peat.
Also, I didn't answer that question earlier. The 6 series, that, to my knowledge, that was our very first Isla Barley release. Prior to that, we'd done like the 1.1 or 2.1. We'd done a like Octomore 10 and like so. But kind of what Maebh was talking about earlier. Prior to Remy Cointreu getting involved and to essentially Bruichladdich having being owned essentially by a larger organization, they released a lot of bottles prior to us getting involved. So each particular, I mean, any given month, they were probably coming out with a new release, be it unpeated, peated, whatever, cask, whatever. So whenever we essentially got involved, we let them continue the exploration, but we wanted to essentially make sure that we had a very granular perspective too. We wanted them to continue to explore, but we also were like, okay, we're kind of all over the board with everything. What does this look like on a global perspective, and how can we make sure that we're, long term able to do this? So we essentially, I think, to some degree, we brought some of the business mind to it, and let them continue to do what they're really, really good at.
Right.
They are brilliant beyond brilliant in this tiny distillery made from like 1881, and I would never ever say otherwise. But I think a lot of it, coming only, as far as we have in the years that we've been kind of involved, have done a lot with them, but we still have a lot to go too. So there's going to be a lot, when I was kind of saying there's a lot to come out with Westland, there's also going to be a lot here pretty soon with Bruichladdich too. So
Yay.
Yeah.
Good. So how long has Remy been involved with Bruichladdich and Westland for anyway?
How long have we been involved with them?
Yeah.
I think that Remy came on with Westland.
How long have they been involved with Remy?
Yes.
Sorry.
I think Remy got Westland maybe 6 years ago. Is that 5 years ago?
Yeah, they came on about 5 years ago. Westland did.
5. And then Bruichladdich was
2001.
Yeah.
Oh, for a while. Okay.
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 10.4 is insane. I'm over here just kind of drinking back and forth because I have all 4. I have 7.1.
Her face.
And then Port Charlotte's. I just kind of been drinking back and forth through them, and it's
What's so much darker?
Yeah.
What's that one?
The 10.4 is really, really spectacular.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
It is.
It drinks to me. It has so much, and this is just because I like you. I'll drink it against other ones. It drinks so beautifully, like a wine too. Like it has so much different, like floral and fruity notes in there, and butter and salted butter and caramel, and just like all kinds of different stuff in there that there's so much depth to it.
And the more you drink it, the more it changes and it just opens up. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thanks, Clifton.
We got a $2 super chat from Clifton McDaniel. Says, I learned a lot and excited to try more. Cheers. See? Good job, Clifton. I told you it'd be a good one for you to come visit too.
Thanks, bud.
Oh, you want to do it?
Oh, you didn't let Violet do it.
I want to do it too.
No screaming.
Standing in the background, banging the thing.
Screaming.
All right, hurry up and do it.
That's special for you, Clifton.
Way to be.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Kristen.
Thanks, Violet.
I want to do it.
Well, you know where I live. You can do it.
You know where I live. Why do you do that?
No, I want to get a metal one so that it really makes some really good noise.
Come.
Temporary wooden one.
Against each other.
Oh, we got another one from Jason the Messenger. Okay, it says, hold on, let me read it first, then you can do it. It says, got to give a shout out for the great show. Erica and Maebh rule and 10.4 is epic. Cheers. Do that one.
Yay!
There's
Swami.
Bud.
Thank you.
And then we got one from Swami. It says, laughing out loud. Do that. That was a good one. All right.
Swami.
Cheers,
Laughing out loud.
All the Bruichladdich is gone.
That's the last of the classic Lottie.
Good news is we have more over
Time
here.
for more.
I'll be replacing that bottle.
We must get William to order 10.4. That is like imperative. That is
That's very,
that
very.
is epically good. That is spectacular. That's my favorite of that between that and the 10.1 that I tried. That is superb.
It's amazing.
Chat, any other questions that we have for Erica or Maebh? Let's go ahead and throw those in now. I have taken it upon myself to mix all of the
As he
Westland
Does
products
every weekend.
and then all of the Bruichladdich. So we're going to go back and forth and see which one is better, a mix of all the people from America or the mix of all
Put them all together at the end to see which the whole combo is.
and exactly. So while you're throwing in questions, I'm going to be sipping.
I'm just going to switch back to some Sherrywood.
There you go.
Yeah. Or if you guys have stuff they want them to look up for the next when they're here in the 2 weeks for the barley exploration.
Oh, Sherrywood. Look at that. The Sherrywood. Bam. Bam.
Love that.
Okay, any hope for the classic Lottie 22 in the U.S.?
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
That would be distillery only.
Ooh.
Oh,
Sorry.
I did see what an 8. Is there an
Good
8 here that's
excuse for a
available
trip.
in the UK?
There's a classic Lottie 8, and then that
Okay.
the last time I saw that was over in Global Travel Retail and other places.
Okay, but not here.
If you see an 8 out in the wild, I'd grab it just because I don't really see it very much in the U.S.
Mhm.
Yeah, I never seen it. I only one I even knew about it was Aquavite had it on a show. They talked about it. I didn't know if it existed prior to his show. So I was like, yeah. Any other Bruichladdich products we can get? Let me know.
Clifton says he'll drink Sherrywood with you, Sarah.
Cheers, Cliffy.
There you go. Sherrywood is good.
Yeah,
It is really
It is
good.
so good.
it's a fave of mine from
A
Westland.
fave. It's a fave.
It's a fave.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Really? Oh, so I'm hasn't tried to Westland. Do you guys distribute to Canada for Westland?
Yep. We are now in Canada as well. We started getting distributed up there in the last year or two. So we're still fairly new up in Canada.
But we're there.
Is it all of Canada or?
Yeah, like
Provinces or-
major. Well, I would say major parts, like west and east, all major parts.
It says not Quebec.
Yeah, not in Quebec though.
Quebec.
And damn.
I will
French
find out for you.
Okay.
And then Alberta, we've got one in Alberta,
Yeah, he says
Okay.
not there yet. So
another in Ontario. We've got the Canadians in our stream.
Canadian crowd, I love it.
we
Canada
do have a lot
blowing
of
up.
Canadians in here.
Hell yeah, Canada.
That's going to be another thing I drop in the comments after this. I'll make sure I figure out where we are distributed up in Canada.
Perfect.
Eh?
And any questions, if you guys come up with questions, chat, if you guys come up with any questions over the next couple of weeks, these guys are going to be back in 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
That's
shoot us
right.
an email at Whiskey Crusaders 3 and or just drop it in the link or in the comment section at the bottom of this video.
And we're not drinking a damn thing that's peated.
Hey, who said barley? Didn't say that it couldn't be peated.
I can hope, okay?
Oh, Whiskey Rocks. That's one of my favorites.
What is that, like old bottling, I assume?
Yeah, it's one of the older ones, but we also still make it at the distillery, and so people can find it like other places. I know we still distribute it a little bit in some areas. So if you ever see a 2007 Isla Barley Rockside, I would grab that one.
Oh, there's one of those.
Moral of the story is grab everything you can, guys.
Right.
Grab it all.
Just buy it. Don't even think about it. Just buy it.
Yes, exactly. I like that. Don't think.
Probably
just
agree
buy
with that.
Just buy.
So they're not a norm. So great question. So in the past, like when we first started as a distillery, we made a couple of exclusive casks in specific cities. And then when essentially Remy Cointreu kind of took over, we stopped making those casks. And then now we are starting that project again. We started redoing that project last year. So I think we did it in 6 different cities. We're going to continue that project into this year going onward. So continue to be on the lookout. Westland will continue to kind of like push out to whatever casks they're doing in whatever cities. So yeah. And then if you visit the distillery, you can also fill your own bottle and do your own cask strength bottle as well.
It's an excuse for a trip, guys.
Graham is a trooper. He's been watching since 5 a.m. in Scotland, so
woo!
Hell of a fan there. That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So
Good.
the mix of all of the Westland we tried tonight
Smells like ass.
is actually quite a bit better than the mix of all of the Port Charlotte Octomore. And this one just kind of fell flat. The Port Charlotte kind of fell flat. Oh, you're not going to want to smell that one.
Oh, good God.
Now mix them together.
It's much peatier.
Now mix them together.
I'm going to. It's much peatier, but the fruit notes on the Westland products really, really jump out of the glass.
Yeah. Once they open up, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I've been covering them with my little challenge coins here.
Yes.
Jason represented, mashing drums out here tonight.
Mash and drum. What up?
Is that all you got?
No, I got.
Oh, I got the whiskey dick.
I do, and
I
got
thought you were going to say that you were covering up with bacon. And that was going to make me real happy.
I know.
They're not quite.
They don't quite
They
work.
don't quite work.
No.
2 slices.
We're going to have to find some ways of that. I feel like that's a Shark Tank idea, guys.
It works.
Oh, I love that.
Weeglins.
Kind of works on the
Whiskey covers with bacon.
Now we're cooking.
Yes. Maybe they'll absorb the fumes.
You make little squares.
So what did you guys cook up whenever you were all locked up?
Bacon squares.
Covers for
You
whiskey.
wouldn't
made of
believe it.
Bacon. A piece for your glass and the taste buds.
And you
Bacon challenge coins. Yes.
bacon
You
challenge.
eat the
Yes,
coins when they-
absolutely, yes.
Edible challenge coins.
Yeah, we need to have bacon
That'd be awesome.
coins, and then we need to have one with bacon kitty on it.
Bacon kitty.
We should totally do that. You should make the bacon into little coins next year to
Bacon kitty.
fall.
See, all good things happen.
All the best ideas come in these trains.
Communion, except for with bacon.
All the best ideas come at the end of streams when we've been drinking a lot.
Yes, when we do call the challenge coin, yes, there will be bacon on the coin. Don't you worry about that.
Oh,
So that's the best of all of them.
yeah,
Everybody's-
of all of them.
Everybody's behind this project. They all want you to put bacon on stuff. They're
Scratch
all
and
behind
sniff.
Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff, just like the whiskey ones where you can like smell where they're from or whatever.
Yeah.
Just make different smelling bacons.
Yes. All right, we've got some work to do, Matt.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Stop coloring and start making bacon scented stuff.
That's right. That's right. Start cooking.
Nobody ever sees the other bacon kitty off camera.
I see some people are trolling the Westland site. Also, for those of you that are in Canada or other parts of the globe, we should on that site say where we are distributing and what retailers are available near you. So hopefully that is up to date. So that might also help for those of you that are not seeing it where you are.
Mm-hmm. Matt, we have a request for Bacon Kitty t-shirts.
Merch.
See why not?
The merch has started.
T-shirt. Where'd you go?
You're gonna be on a t-shirt, Kit Kat.
Well, there you are.
So, can you talk about the Westland Coldfoot?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know anything about that one.
Westland Coldfoot is our recent crud. I didn't grab a bottle before I came over here. Our recent release. So we do a lot of partnership with different either breweries or just in general companies that we believe a lot in. We did this partnership with Filson, which is an outdoors company up in Seattle, Washington. But we also, there's other Filson, if you've ever shopped Filson or anything like that, but it's mostly outdoors. Their headquarters are up in Seattle, Washington. They're kind of a leather goods / rugged outdoorsman kind of company. So we did a release with them specifically. Coldfoot kind of pays tribute to a specific area of coal mining and all that kind of stuff. So it is the most recent release we've done with Westland. And if you have ever had our winter release with Westland, it reminds me a lot of that particular release. It is phenomenal. It is available on, I believe, Caskers still, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to go on the website, you can still order it on caskers.com for those of you that can get Caskers in your state. And I think you can order it on a few other websites maybe, but yeah. Highly recommend it.
I highly recommend mixing all of your peated products together.
It's like as you're like when you're a kid, like all the different just go up and down.
All the different coats.
All the suicide soda.
Yeah. Do this.
Suicide.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I forgot about that.
Is it weird? I still sometimes, if I'm at like this, like the sandwich shop or something, I'll get like my Diet Coke and I'll get like a splash of of a cherry Coke and a splash of something else. I'm like, woo.
That's really good.
You get to like
cherry Coke.
Yeah,
No.
I'll do that. Diet Coke and a splash of cherry Coke. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, like
Good idea.
it's so good.
But what's really good is peated Coke. That's my favorite.
Wasn't it Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper and Peat is
Yeah,
awesome.
I wouldn't know, but
Yeah.
It is so
I'm not
good.
a bad idea.
Smoky
I
Coke.
might be trying that.
I'm going to take your word for it, but
It is delicious.
apparently it's a thing.
It's a thing.
I don't know.
It's a thing.
It's a yummy thing. All right.
It makes the Dr. Pepper taste better.
I don't know. Mm-mm.
Smoky Coke. Yeah, that's probably what it tastes like.
Damn right.
I think it just brings perfectly good Coke.
No. Better.
Never.
Dr. Pepper and TX blended. That just makes a vanilla Dr. Pepper.
No. Boo. On that one.
Don't get Matt started on TX, okay?
Matt's upset.
We've had a good night.
I don't care. TX blend is fine. Like I said, it's making vanilla Coke. Just don't have the damn bourbon. It'll ruin your damn Dr. Pepper. Ugh. It's horrible.
We can find better bourbon than that.
Just about
It
anything.
doesn't need to taste like a shoe. It's fine.
Look at all of these mixologists coming out from the woodworks. And if you guys also, I'll do a plug for this as well. If you've streamed all you can stream and you've looked at all of the YouTube and or whatever you can, and you haven't seen Scotch the Golden Dream, I highly recommend that. It is
so good.
So good.
I rewatched it last night.
It's so good. I think I watched it like 3 times now.
Hulu
Scotch
and
the Golden
Amazon.
Dream.
Where can you find that?
Hulu and Amazon.
Excellent. I got Amazon.
It is so good.
Yeah, it'll just make you feel like you're not where you are. It'll just transport you to another place. It is so good.
Yeah.
But it's truly just it's a good tribute to Scotch and where we've been and just it just makes you all warm and fuzzy all over.
It does. It does. Just like Scotch.
And ironically enough, when they were doing the documentary, it's really paid. Ironically enough, they just did a lot of stuff with Bruichladdich, and that was just by chance. It was not paid or anything like that. It's just that the reporter ended up doing a lot more at our distillery, and it's so cool to see Jim and our previous distiller kind of chat up as much as he does on that documentary. So yeah,
it gives you chills. It's incredible.
Oh, see, that movie is how my wife agreed that we can go to Scotland for our next vacation.
Love it. Love it.
That's great.
Question here. Where is it? How often do they release Octomore?
Every year.
Every year.
Every year. Every year. Timing wise, late year. I'm gonna say like September
like
through
October-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Every year though. Now they weren't for a while, obviously with just trying to get everything really like succinct and talking about marketing calendars and release dates and all of that. That wasn't something that they were used to doing for a while. They were used to just releasing what they thought was great, which was awesome. But I think now they're on a true marketing schedule, and we have like things on a certain time frame, which is awesome to see. I can actually tell people when to to expect stuff.
Instead, it usually hits the states in the fall.
How does it say? Do batch sizes differ, or do they try to keep it the same? So when it comes to our like allocated stuff for like Isla barley, or for Garryana, or for wheat, or Octomore, all of it's going to be varied on size, and we always denote on how many bottles released are on the side. For everything else, it's what we call a permanent SKU. That will never be so much as a batch size or anything like that, because that's always going to be part of our core range. So a Bruichladdich Classic Laddie, a Port Charlotte 10, Westland American Oak, Sherry Wood, Peated, all of those are always going to be part of our area. Yeah. Hopefully that answers that question.
Okay, kid. She wants to do the super chat.
Go for
All
it.
Do it.
This is from King Jack. Another great lies. Thank you, Erica and Maebh, for the knowledge and cheers.
Ready?
All right, now you can do it.
Do it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Slamming.
It's the little things in life.
It really
You know.
is.
That was
It is.
awesome.
It is.
That was
Now
a
more than
great
ever.
one.
Hitting a wood knife to a shield,
It brings a lot of joy.
I kind of
Children.
Maebh, Erica, do you have anything coming up in your lives that
And
we
we
need to
haven't
let other people know about?
mentioned that. I mean, I know everything's, kind of scaled down and locked up right now, but anything special that
You mean me in like my guest room right now? What do you mean? Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's as much as it's, and I'm sure Maebh could probably agree with this, as much as it's scaled down, I feel like I'm busier than ever, which is great to see. Like, I'm doing these things essentially like a few times a week now, which is awesome. And it's, some of it's local, some of it's for just, whiskey fans, some of it's for, people like yourselves that are more of a national scale. But yeah, I mean, this week, ironically enough, is more of a slow week. We have, which is very boring, but we have personal assessments, and it was our end of fiscal this previous month, ironically enough. So we have to do a lot of reviews and all of that this week. So after we do this tasting tonight, me and Maebh are going to be hunkered down with our computers the rest of the week. Yeah, doing all of the typing things. But yeah, next week I have a couple of them, and I'm sure Maebh does too.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to stay busy for sure.
Yeah, it's a weird time, and we're ready to be up and running and back in market and doing live events. But until then, this is great too. Got a bunch more on the books, but yeah, we're excited to have things slowly start opening up.
Yeah.
Well, in 2 weeks, we have both of you, just one,
Yeah,
both of you back. So be sure to turn in. You know, I don't find these things out from Matt sometimes until like the night before or the night 2 nights before, like who is actually on. So
your cat tells you it's fine.
I've gotten better about it in advance.
Has a picture and he says, "Hey, post this to social media." Okay, cool. Who's gonna be on it?
You're like, this girl, she seems cool.
She likes bacon.
Yeah,
She's got some whiskey to talk about.
Yes, but it was.
She has some brown spirit to talk about. I don't know. Brown liquid.
No.
I love it.
So 2 weeks, we'll have both of these lovely ladies back, and we're talking about the malted side of things.
Yeah, just like barley, unpeated, barley explorations, some of the like unpeated.
Yes,
unpeated.
Right.
We gotta bring it home. Bring it home. But yeah, we're gonna geek out. Both of our distilleries really believe that barley matters, and that's really awesome to see. We believe that it's not just a commodity grain, and that it's this like yield grain that just creates production or anything like that. That it creates taste and all of this different things. So
absolutely,
So we will talk all things barley in a couple of weeks.
All right.
So if you're really a barley geek,
come on down. Come on down.
I'm excited.
I love talking about barley.
I think that what's great about Bruichladdich and the barley casts or barley, expressions too is as fun as peat is and as wild as all of the different stuff that we do from Bruichladdich and from Westland, from peat. The barley expressions for me really show our character and who we are at a distillery, and our wine background from Bruichladdich, and also our barley and distillery and other background from Westland. So it's
just the range is pretty
exciting.
Hey Matt.
Yes.
Definitely gonna need another sample of classic Lottie.
Okay. I kind of figured that.
We're out. Don't worry, we'll make sure you guys are well fed.
That's right.
Don't forget to make your bacon.
We will have the bacon. Bacon will be here.
The bacon will be here.
Whatever.
But yeah, I'll make sure that I drop just what I made notes of all the stuff I'm going to leave in the comments and make sure I make note of all that. But if there are questions after this that I don't get to, drop it in the comments or ask Matt or Will or Sarah or anybody and make sure that we can get to them in 2 weeks. And me and Maeve can certainly get those answered for you guys.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What do we got in the pipeline, Matt?
Okay, this week we are releasing Woodinville Bourbon tomorrow. And let's see, on Thursday will be Rassay, the first release from them, which is very cool. Another 2020 store.
I have to say, like, apparently, like,
you approved it.
All of the outtakes are surrounded by Sarah, so just.
Did you watch it yet, Matt?
No, I haven't had time.
Okay.
Outtakes? There's outtakes?
Oh yeah, we always put random outtakes.
There's always some kind of outtakes, and usually they
Not always, but
most of the time.
Most of the time.
They usually revolve around me for some reason.
You bring the humor.
I guess.
Story of my life.
Yes.
I guess.
Today I got really close to the camera at the end of a Zoom video, and I was like,
and our boss was like, "Erica, what are you doing?"
literally, my boss was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, which is exactly what's about to happen in the comments video.
Tomorrow's outtakes are all about Sarah, so enjoy.
I love it. I can't wait. I'm ready for it.
Let's see. Next Monday, Whistle Pig's National Brand Ambassador will be here, Doug Ward. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
The Whistle Pig.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
That's gonna be awesome.
It's right.
I see a barley strain. Do they use? Yes, we use Golden Promise. if you're asking. That is one of the
Hey, I told him he has to wait until to watch in 2 weeks.
Oh no, trust me, we use a lot of different ones. So that's just a sneak peek for those barley geeks.
That's right.
Right.
Just a sliver.
Sliver.
It's okay. Eric's good for hit. He's usually in our chats with us. We enjoy him here. He always asks good questions.
I love it. I love it.
He's also a great benefactor of ours.
Yes, he is.
To send us
Donated
whiskeys.
several bottles.
Good
We
peeps. I
appreciate
like
Eric. In fact, I haven't told you, he sent us 3 more whiskeys.
Oh Jesus!
that. Ooh.
Where are they?
They're
The
at
taste
our
just
dining room
keeps on
table.
coming.
I have to add them to the
She's so greedy.
sample list.
Not
Like,
greedy.
I remember to pour it so much.
Have
It's
you gotten
just
it?
everywhere. What do you want to do? It's like,
So here's your answer, Eric. No, we have not gotten them at our house yet. They're still
they'll
at
get them. I promise. Don't worry. I forgot on the other side of the dining room table, so I'll have to pour those for you.
There's a whole nother room of whiskey since you ladies have been there.
The dining room.
The
is
dining
now
room.
Oh,
turned into a
wow.
room too.
Well, it's the donation room now. All the donations come through there. There's tons of them down there. So everybody else knows we love donations.
A whole nother room.
Wow, that's impressive.
That is a lot of bottles.
All
Yes.
right.
It's a lot of whiskey.
So who do you guys have tomorrow night?
We have a review tomorrow coming out for.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
drop a review
Woodinville.
on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and tomorrow is Woodinville Bourbon.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Cool.
With my
Featuring a
outtakes.
new intro.
Featuring temporary. Temporary. One time
Maybe.
only.
Maybe.
One time only.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. He edits the videos in case you don't know, so I can go in and remove things if I want to.
I love it.
At least he's nice enough to run it by me before he.
That's right.
Obviously.
Because
Oh,
you know,
there needs
couch
to
is
absolutely be a kitty intro. Yes.
kitty intro.
For sure.
I could probably make that happen.
We can probably do that. He's. I
You can
mean,
do it right now. He's just sitting there.
he's falling asleep right now.
Yeah, he ends up in lots of reviews. It's pretty funny. Well, lately because with the social distancing. Otherwise, usually we film here.
That one's
So-
sleeping too.
That's
We have
just-
2 bacon kitties and one
Wow.
that could.
Meow meow. Oh. Oh, they're multiplying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's 3 of them here. The other one doesn't care.
I feel like I'm at the zoo all of a sudden. This is exciting.
She is.
She's sleeping on the
Can't
couch.
see her.
But
Aw.
those 2 are all about the bacon, and they're always up in our faces. And that one doesn't care, so she sleeps.
I like sleeping. Sleeping and bacon are both really good. You know.
I don't understand what her problem is. She doesn't want anything to do with bacon.
No.
We've tried.
Yeah.
Whatever. More bacon for me.
She's welcome to it.
Her loss.
Bacon coma.
Possible. Oh, he's awake now.
Bacon? All right.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you very, very much.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. This was
Last
fantastic.
Hold on. We got a last thing there for Will B. Hey, Violet,
Good way
come
to
here.
end it.
Here.
Bing, 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 bing.
Here, Violet. You get one more. Yeah, from Will B. It says, well done. Thanks to Eric and Maeve. All right.
Thanks.
All right. You ready?
Bye, you guys. Thank you. This was awesome.
This is so fun. Thanks,
Thank you, Will.
everybody.
Okay, do it. All right.
Woo!
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you being on with us tonight.
Don't go there.
See you in 2 weeks. Thank you, chat. We'll see you, in a week.
Cheers, chat. You ladies don't go anywhere yet.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Don't breathe in my face.